It had been a day of trying new things. Katie found out that although you want to play a pretty song on a flute, it's really hard to do it the first time you try. Orbie learned that even if you know how to play a computer game, being fast and winning takes a whole lot of practice. And they both discovered that even though you try to fold the pillowcases with nice, tidy edges, it doesn't always happen. Katie dug through her drawers to find her ballet costume. Dad hunted for his wallet. Mom tried to get everyone to eat something, and Orbie waited by the door. They were going to try a class day at the dance school, where Katie took ballet. In the car, Orbie almost bubbled over with excitement. He was very eager to find some kind of dancing that he loved as much as Katie loved ballet. The dance school was abuzz with children and parents. Katie tugged Orbie towards her ballet class. She wanted Orbie to start there. Dad sat outside the gigantic glass window and watched. Katie's ballet teacher was very happy to have Orbie in the class and placed him right beside his best friend. The man at the piano played some lovely music and the class began. Orbie copied Katie and did a fine job of plie and grand battement, but it was when it came to the pirouette that Orbie had a little bit of a problem. He listened to the music and watched as each person spun across the room to the other side. He knew that he could do this one well. He stepped out to take his turn, and he spun and spun, and he spun so hard, he lost control and landed right in the piano player's lap. When Orbie got up, he apologized to the piano player, who told him no harm was done. Katie couldn't help it. She began to giggle, and Orbie giggled, and soon everybody giggled. Next, they tried jazz class. This was new for Katie, too, so they didn't really know what to expect. In this class, they had a big boom box that pumped out music. The music had a great beat. And the teacher showed them some jazz steps. They did a kind of bumpy, jumpy dance move where they swung one hip out and hopped to the right. Katie and Orbie were having a great time. Dad smiled at them. The teacher introduced stag leaps. She explained that the students were to push hard off the floor and make their legs look like a deer leaping. Katie did a wonderful job. Orbie felt that he could be very good doing it too, and he followed the teacher's words exactly. He pushed off hard, but for Orbie that sent him right up to the ceiling. And he grabbed onto it, and the whole class was silent. No one had ever done a stag leap like that before. The teacher stared, open-mouthed. She didn't know how to get Orbie down. Orbie smiled a weak little grin and climbed across the ceiling and down the wall. Outside the class, Orbie sheepishly burbled to Dad that he thought that he was doing it right. The director at the dance school, who'd been watching, suggested they try a folk dance class because it had a little less leaping. There, the two friends were given some headdresses with long, trailing ribbons. Katie and Orbie were gleeful as they held hands and skipped around. The teacher said Orbie was very enthusiastic. She asked him to lead the class as they formed a line and danced in and out under each other's arms. Orbie was very proud as he skipped along. But sadly, his enthusiasm carried him away, and he managed to tie the entire class into a kind of knot. The director helped sort out the children and then took Orbie by the hand. She invited Katie, too. They would try something even better for Orbie. In the next class, a man was playing bagpipes. He was dressed in a kilt. This class was called Highland Dancing. The teacher told him that they were supposed to wear kilts, too, and she wrapped one around Katie and then Orbie. When they twirled, their kilts flared out. Katie was the first to practice twirling and then kicking her leg out and around in a little circle. She did it well, and everybody clapped. Next, it was Orbie's turn. He worked very hard at twirling carefully, and I have to say, He was doing a terrific job, but as he kicked his foot out, he watched to see if he was pointing it well and forgot to look where he was twirling. And in a flash, he got too close to the bagpiper and knocked over the music stand and poked the air right out of the bagpipe. The sound was awful. Again, the director came to his rescue. She told the friends that she didn't give up easily. They could find the perfect class for Orbie. Orbie was pretty doubtful, but he was still willing to try. A loud, rhythmic knocking, stomping, tapping sound came from down the hall. Katie and Orbie couldn't wait to find out what it was. The director told Orbie that his problem was he was small and light, and in this class, he'd have to have some special shoes to weigh him down a bit. When Orbie put on the clicky-clacky shoes, they were a bit slippery. Once he got onto the dance floor, the teacher told him how to make a tap with them. He and Katie practiced tapping. They tapped with the rhythm of the music. They made a tip-tip-tap sound. Orbie was the first one to get it right. The director looked pleased, and Dad was too. But he knew Orbie wasn't spinning or leaping yet. One by one, the class began traveling around the room, tipping and tapping. When it came to Orbie's turn, Katie and Dad held their breath. But they had no need to worry. The shoes held Orbie on the ground. He completed his circle perfectly without even missing a beat. He was terrific at it. The director smiled. She knew that she'd found a perfect class for Orbie. No one will ever forget Try a Class Day. It was the day Orbie realized that even if you have trouble doing some things well, if you keep looking for just the right thing, one day you certainly will find it. And if you haven't found something that you can do really well, just remember Orbie and keep trying. Because one day you'll surprise yourself and be excellent at something very special, just like Orbie.
Flossing your teeth is just as important as brushing your teeth. The floss can actually reach places your toothbrush can't find. You can get your mom or dad to show you how to properly floss. Wow! What a great smile!